There we go.
Heavy.
It's changed everything.
Yes, that should be better. That looks better.
You got it.
Yeah.
That's fine now.
You know, it's strange though. They're just exact copies of a setting. They're listed twice. So like, there's a top layer and a bottom layer.
But that's 44 hertz. Kilohertz. That's better.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
48 is a little too high.
You want to keep this here, right?
See now, I didn't know that. I thought that just higher was better.
Well, it is.
Oh, okay.
But for the web, it's too high. Too much.
I see.
Too much space.
Yeah. Makes sense.
If you were going to tape, then it would be great.
And we want to be between -12 and -6, more or less.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm
right,
sure.
for audio levels.
Yeah, as long as it's not overmodulating, it'll be fine.
I just heard everything, this whole conversation, like, fully back just now.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to turn this on. Oh.
What mic? Is that mic that sensitive? This mic is on, is it? Sure. But I heard myself, and I wasn't even like talking to anybody. I just like started a sentence and then stopped. So, what's up, Jack?
DJ Chris.
You know it? It's delayed. It's delayed. So I used to.
There you go. Is that, or are you listening? Yeah, let me know if it's back.
Tapped out. I think this mic is on. The mic on.
Not anymore. I think it's back to normal.
Then is this mic?
Ow.
Is it that mic actually? That's all
No.
sensitive?
No.
I can hear myself.
You can still hear yourself.
Yeah. I can hear you too. Here.
So can the whole world.
Here. La 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 la.
Your mic is on. They can hear you talking. Yeah, in the live stream.
I can't run this right now. This is,
So we were going to hold till 6:05 since we have a standing special.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
So what I'll do is I'll come up here and then I'll get on headset, or I'll have Matthew tell you that I've given them to go to tell her that I stop playing.
Okay.
Right.
Once you figure that out, put that back on so I can yell things back at you. Yeah, sounds like Chris.
You know, it falls off.
It's not Mike. It's not Mike.
Here, you.
Told you.
It's
It's the mic, Mike.
yeah, it's still happening.
You can't just turn it off.
What up, headphone team? Stream status. Good. What is this? Ustream?
The world is actually listening to us right now. I'm figuring out the mic situation, so you can say hello to the world. Just remember that
Hello, world.
the whole world is listening.
Hello,
Hello,
world.
Earth.
This is AS220.
This mic?
Yeah. So Wirecast is picking up our voice.
Oh, wow.
And
Are you live streaming?
I don't know why, because that is on.
Say something. Well, I can't hear it. You can't hear it anymore. It's off.
Yeah, because it's this mic.
So is it because I selected that? Oh! No, so.
I can't.
Huh.
Still there.
Well, Chris, aren't you recording the audio? So later you can resync it?
Yeah, but it's about extra.
I know.
Let me just stop.
folks that are going to be presenting their art tonight as well as learning an awful lot of information about AS220. So why are we here? Okay? So this is the reason we're here. We expect to be launching a whole bunch of new projects in the very near future and expanding on everything we're doing. You're going to hear a little bit about what that's about. You're going to hear a little past, a little present, a little past, a lot of present, and future of AS220. And really some of the mechanics. Well, why do we feel that's necessary here and now? Because for all the press we get, all the wonderful applause that we get in the community, there isn't a single day that goes by where somebody doesn't say, so, what is AS220 again? And that's why we're here tonight. As we begin to launch into the future with so many wonderful ideas, that's why we're here. Ordinarily, when I'm speaking outside of this community about AS220 and Providence, I highlight all the amazing cultural activities that are happening in this city. Guys, I love you all. Tonight we're talking about AS220. So my apologies, because it really is amazing what has transpired here in the last few years. And frankly, this is kind of like a trustees meeting. You are the trustees. I see so many friendly faces out here, and so many people who have contributed to AS220 in so many different ways. This is truly a co-creation, AS220. We are just shepherds and stewards of this asset that belongs to you. And we're going to talk to you more tonight about how you can continue to be engaged and reanimate some of those folks who have been sitting in the wings. Okay? This event is being live broadcast. We've announced this to 17,000 people who are our friends. There are people as far away as New Zealand that are watching this as it's happening today. That's a shout out to our friends in New Zealand. So let's get started. So building AS220. Okay. AS220. Alternative space, art space. That's the name. That's always one of those questions. 220 Wake Boston Street on the 3rd floor. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Let me see. I got to check my notes. Bear with me. Silence is a beautiful thing. Okay. Give me the next slide. So what is it we desire for any of our organizations? It's not just the idea that we're presenting in new programs, but how do you sustain these things? When there's so much stress in the NGO environment and nonprofit environment, what's AS220's plan for sustaining? And a lot of that has to do with participation. Frankly, the more you participate in our programs, the more sustainable we are. So often when people are looking at how they maintain and keep themselves afloat, it's always about just the money. We think of it different. The more everybody participates, and we're going to demonstrate all the variety of ways that you can participate, the more likely we are to be sustainability, and frankly, the money follows. Right? Next slide. So this is our board. It's always people, isn't it? Our board. Yeah, you can clap for that. And a few of our sponsors and partners and friends. And I promise you we forgot somebody. And if you're out there, I apologize. It wasn't intentional. Because we love all of these relationships and partnerships that we have. Next slide. And I said, this is actually not a photograph of staff. This is really more an image. It's sort of like a, Jung thing or something. This is actually how they behave generally. So, next slide. And so what are you in for tonight? And some of it might get a little dry and a little tedious, and I want you to bear with us. But a little bit on the past, present, future participation. What you're going to, you have your, what do you call those damn things? The pamphlet, the program. That's what you call it, a program. You have your programs, you can keep track. So you'll see people, you'll see where you are. So hopefully that will keep you from getting too anxious as this evolves. Go. So what's the idea in general? It's really about the intrinsic value of artists and artistic practice and artistic product. Not so much as the artist necessarily or what they produce as a commodity. Okay? It's more about how artists reflect on culture and society and what they bring to all of us in terms of perspective. And that's really what AS220 Umberto, Umberto gave me the whole origin story about how the idea and the genesis of the idea evolved. And what are the values, underlying values of the organization? Okay, you can read it. Creative potential of every individual. We're all born creative and intuitive, and then we go to school. Equity and access. Okay? Community, people, collaborations. You see all the collaborators, intrinsic value of artists in our practice, and what are some of the policies, underlying policies that are sort of the foundation of the work and keeps us true to our mission, our unjuried, uncensored mission, all ages, all the time, trying to keep things affordability, which definitely relates to access, and then our equal pay policy, crazy, right? All the people who work for the nonprofit make the same wages, less than $40,000 a year in health care. We'd like to make that better for all of our staff. That, by the way, includes me. Okay? And that's because we want you to trust us. So the past. So where did we come from? Now, how many people have been in Providence less than 10 years? Raise your hands. Pretty remarkable, right? I heard statistics that more than 50% of the people living in Providence have been here less than 10 years. Isn't that remarkable? Right? So a lot of you don't know. So before the decline of Providence and the renaissance of Providence was a boom town. 250,000 people, hundreds of trains going to our train station every day, dropping off traveling salesmen and more billions and whatnot. We had something like 12 vaudeville houses that eventually became theaters like this place in the downtown area alone. This was one hell of a place. And then there was the decline. Our industries left us, textile, and then jewelry, all of these kinds of things, and there was this gradual decline. Well, let me tell you something. Providence didn't look like it did then or now in 1985 when we started AS220. A few of the images. So where did we start? 1985? Literally, I don't recognize it. I have no idea who that person is. But we started when we started up in PPAC on the 3rd floor. PPAC had fairly recently opened. I think I sold in the idea of kind of James Taylor's coffee house. I don't think I mentioned unjuried and uncensored at the time. And it became apparent to both of us that this really wasn't the right venue for all-night raves and hardcore bands and things like that. And we're really good. Is Lynn here? I don't know. But we're really, Lynn has always been supportive of AS220. We're really good friends. But he did send me a letter after one particular evening saying, we think what you're doing is important. You need to find someplace else to do it. And then we went around the corner to Richmond Street, to an abandoned building. No heat, no electricity, no plumbing was working, and we moved in. Half a dozen of us moved in and started programming events there. There are people in this room that performed there, and actually performed that are in this room tonight, actually performed there. Okay? So there were 7 people living behind that wall, all kinds of performers in here. I've been told not to mention that Green Day played here because there's many other famous people that played here, so I won't mention that Green Day played here. On that stage on the right side over there. We used kerosene heaters to heat the place. Move on. And then we realized, of course, what happened. Rents started going up, all the buildings started to become animated, and we really realized that our future was in jeopardy. We had an $80,000 a year annual budget, and at the time when we started talking about our own building, we weren't full-time paid staff person, making minimum wage, and that was me. And we had the audacity, the timing was good, the city was desperate. We had the audacity to say that we were going to buy and build and renovate a building. Had no idea if we could do it. And if we had not been introduced to Lucy Searle, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it. So we looked at the city, showed us a building they had some leverage on. It was in horrific condition. The street was entirely prostitution and drug trade. We looked at the building, the double-loaded corridor, and said, perfect. Because artists find value in things and in places and ideas that other people don't. Right? That's what we do. We don't gentrify neighborhoods. Policy gentrifies neighborhoods. Private developers gentrify neighborhoods. Artists see value and bring value. Okay? So this is what it looked like. And you can even see the buildings in the back. AS220. Go ahead, next. And this is obviously if you haven't been anywhere. I think you all been. Next. And this is how we got done. And there are some people in this room who are in that picture today, that are in this room right now. We removed over 200 tons of debris from that building in buckets. There's quite a lot of it was masonry debris when we demolished the stairwell. Okay? And that's only a handful of folks. And you see some people up here, like Steve Durkee, who's sitting right there, who's in this picture, I think. Next.
That's it.
Is there a next, or do we crash? We have to warn you, the computer's been glitching all day. We transfer computers, all this stuff. Is that what's happening now?
No.
Please introduce our first artist of the evening. He's a friend and just an amazing artist. He's traveled all over the country with his spoken word and with his band. And he's a resident of AS220. He was one of the primary organizers of Occupy Providence. He's been sort of staunch leader in the whole poetry slam movement, running the poetry slams for many, many years at AS220 Repertory.
The best magic is secret. It starts off small. A tiny lightning deep in the middle of your chest. You can't see it, but it's here. Testing the glass, waiting for lid to loosen for its turn, like a beat bouncing out of a cafe down the next block, the next city or state, even when we aren't close enough to hear, even when there is no sound. A pulse is still a live and breathing thing. It doesn't just stop simply because a band 1,000 miles away has left the stage, or the volume dial on stereo is turned off. It still pounds its map into the silence behind the sun. Every note that has ever been struck is still going, still exists somewhere. The universe is full of magic. One day, the beats will consume all the space there is to breathe. We will hear the crescendo like 100 million tidal waves crashing at once. Looking at me, you might not know that I was a magician. That letters cast spells in the imagination, pulled pictures out of ears, and set them to dance so real that the face on the water comes to life. Reflection becomes protagonist, and the original a voyeur. What is happening on the outside is still technically real time, but the universes within are now the only recognizable reality. You concentrate on these things at night in your bed till they put you to sleep. It's called dreaming. We can do it here on a well-lit stage in front of a room full of strangers. It's called magic. The sound of this voice is a paintbrush in your head, smoothing all static to a clean sheet. It can snatch a sparrow out of the sky, fly its quivering frame down to sing from the lowest hanging branch of your favorite tree. Remind us all where to keep our eye, that no light is so small its flame may extinguish without the secret heart of the forest taking note. Incantations can stain the sun purple, send multitudes of magenta, silver bars beaming down to penetrate every pane of a towering glass high-rise, transmogrify the stale air surrounding 100 stuffy office cubicles to the quiet majesty of a meadow at dawn. Words of power will lift the sentience right out of your chest, set to hover somewhere near the ceiling, staring down at the meat suit seated in the chair below. They can teleport an entire room full of meat suits from the soft darkness of a performance space down to a crowded subway car attached to a train racing at 60 miles per hour through tunnels like a giant earthworm beneath a dying city. Certain combinations of syllables slip behind the control panel load reels onto the old-fashioned projector in the attic, shining stories of past, present, and possible futures clear as day across the smooth canvas fixed at the back of your eyelids. If you listen, you can hear its whirring motor buzz, the click of film strip traveling along metal guides as each tiny frame is brought before the lights. Thank you very much.
So now we're going to get into the present. I'm going to introduce, we're going to start with performance, and I'm going to introduce Marilee.
Hi, I'm Marilee. I'm the director of programming at the Performance Space right over there, 115 Empire Street. And like most of the staff here, I'm also a working artist. I'd like to see a show of hands for all of you. How many of you have seen a performance at AS220 before? Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And another show of hands. How many of you have performed at AS220? Awesome. Cool. My very first encounter with AS220 was over 10 years ago on tour with a band from Arkansas. Fast forward a few years, I moved to Rhode Island for grad school and had the incredible fortune of working sound at the Performance Space, eventually leading me where I am now at the helm of booking and programming the space. In my time touring and in my time being here, I've learned that AS220 is a unique venue. It's uncensored, it's unjuried, and it's not limited to any genre. And on a given week, it's open 6 days. And in those 6 days, we average 10 events. 10 events in 6 days. And these events are, ready? Music shows, open mic drawing sessions, poetry readings, film screenings, geek dinners, bike swaps, artist lectures, fashion shows, sketch comedy, stand-up comedy, improv, dance performances, storytelling, and sewing circles. And all the music performed and played in the space is all original. And although our mission is to provide a venue for all Rhode Island musicians and artists, musicians and performers from around the world have graced our stage and our floor. We receive hundreds of requests a month, and it's my task to schedule them all. Seasoned professionals and emerging artists alike. If I could get one more show of hands for all of you, I'm interested in seeing how many of you had your very first performance at AS220, or your very first performance in Providence at AS220, or you debuted something at AS220. Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. If you see those hands, got a chance to look at them? That's a testament to the fact that the performance space is an incubator. It's an incubator to the creative pursuits of the community. I want to thank all of you for performing there, for attending, and for debuting there. And I keep saying the performance space as if it's the only one at AS220. But I'd like to introduce to you the director of 95 Empire, Repertory.
I am Rick Royer. I am also an artist. I'm a theater artist. Tie-line bracelet. Tie lines. So yes, as you will see, AS220 has gone from being an art space nesting in the second floor of Richmond Street to a nesting doll of art spaces. It has art spaces within art spaces within art spaces, and 95 Empire is one of those art spaces that has art spaces in its art spaces. It's actually an entire art center within an art center. It has a fully flexible black box theater. It has, above that, rehearsal spaces and a late night cabaret space called Psychic Readings. Above that is a dance studio. And below all of it is a scene shop. And when people ask me what exactly happens at 95 Empire, I tell them anything, everything. And when they ask, how do I get to do that? How do I book a show? I say, email me, call me, and give me the date. We host a variety of events, from theater, mostly theater and dance, to music, film, video, literary arts, and a lot of mixed up, harder to define genres of live arts. And 95 Empire is also a learning space. We offer classes in dance, performance classes, yoga, technical theater, and a lot more. The program is just a couple of years old, and I've been its director since its inception. Back in 1991, AS220 took on a space on Empire Street that needed a ton of work, and they had no budget for it and not enough staff, and they did such a great job of making it work that they decided to do it all again in 2011. And not only are we doing it again at 95 Empire, we're doing the impossible. We are making theater cool with Trinity. We took on 4 floors of space, all of which needed some love and attention, and we've been making it work through that patented DIY 220 formula, vision first and artist driven, sustaining the program not only through its resources, which at first were minimal, but through its needs as well. And what I mean by that is this. Our program has a frighteningly low ratio of dedicated staffing hours to square footage, so we can always use a helping hand. We do predominantly theater, so we don't make any money, so we can use money as well. We have 3 floors of space in the program, so we need artists, audiences, teachers, and students. So in the spirit of Nietzsche's idea that moderate poverty is a blessed and unpossessed state, we ensure that any form of participation you can offer us, we can distill into cultural capital. Volunteers can get cheaper space rental or tickets to shows, produce a show with us, see a show with us, teach a class, which will bring much needed earned income through the door. Donate stuff that we can resell at our monthly flea market that we put on the Black Box Flea Market. Flea markets. I should also mention that we have a cute little portable bar on wheels, bartended by Jack Ryan, best little bartender in town. So we need drinkers as well. Or just give us money if you got it. We don't need a lot of one thing to survive. We could use a lot of things. So whatever you have to offer, it helps in collectively sustaining this diverse, unjuried, and uncensored environment that is just as much yours as it is AS220's. And this is what initially attracted me to AS220 as an artist and arts organizer. It hitches its own success on the amount of opportunities that it offers and the frequency at which they are taking advantage of. So please, take advantage of us at 95 Empire. And have fun with us, because you can't forget fun. And now, the nesting doll continues to unfold as Neil Walsh will tell you how to take advantage of it in the galleries.
Hello, my name is Neil Walsh. I am the gallery director at AS220. First started coming to AS220 when I was at the University of Rhode Island. Brian Gibson sitting over here, sort of a ring leader, bringing a bunch of us up to AS220. Performance for this. The very first performance that we had was at AS220. Very first one. My very first performance ever. this garbage can on stage. We have all these Pepsi glasses. And we sort of stomped around the stage, smashing all the Pepsi glasses in the garbage can. Everybody sort of inched away. Eventually, we ran out of glasses in Performance Inn. But that was the beginning of 24 years or so of involvement with AS220. Becoming an artist and now being a gallery. We have 6 different galleries. Every month there is anywhere between 7 to maybe up to 100 artists that show in all of our gallery spaces. Every month the shows change. There's a opening reception every month. There's artist talks. We have a flat file program where people can put their work. It's also on our online shop. We're trying to engage every aspect of Rhode Island artists to show their work. All you have to be is one Rhode Island resident and patient. We have a very long waiting list. But we're always working on different ways of trying to expand that, get you in there as soon as possible to exhibit your work. So come find me. We can talk some more later at the reception. Signing up for a show is just making an appointment with me. We sit down and talk and figure out what works best for you. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to Susan Clausen, who's been a long-time mentor and just an amazing individual. Whenever I need to make something for the gallery or fix something, Susan's going to go to.
To provide opportunity to the whole community at large and work together to make that happen. And we're still doing that today. As a resident or a tenant there, they're obligated to contribute 5 hours of community service to AS220. It's ours, it's theirs, it's all of ours. We're all in this together to make the place work, and we couldn't do it without all the support from our tenants. So I personally embarked on projects I never would have had I not been at AS220. I was on stage for the first time since I was a grandmother rabbit in kindergarten play, which was terrifying. But I managed to get through that and have, aside from the visual artwork I do, I play music now with a bunch of folks that actually are also part of AS220, and it's pretty amazing. And we hope all that kind of experience still feeds the community that lives there now. And those opportunities really help shape me as an artist and a person, and we just want to continue to grow that way. All kinds of artists live at AS220 and work at AS220. We have printmakers, spoken word artists, photographers, musicians, painters, printmakers, graphic designers, filmmakers, videographers, fabric artists, installation, assemblage and performance artists, luthiers, dancers, jewelers, murals, and other makers. There's a lot of folks there, so you can only imagine what kind of interactions and collaborations happen out of that. Not to mention that emergency glue gun at midnight you might need. There's probably someone up the hall that has one that can help you out with that. It's those simple things that often bring us together and bind us together as communities, as well as the big picture. We try to nurture our community with everyone that lives at AS220, as well as working or volunteering at AS220, with meet and greets that we all come together and potluck and hang out and talk. We have open studios annually, and A lot of folks who live there also create their own programs, like April's Crafternoons and Justine's Sewing Circles or Brian's book clubs, and they invite the community to participate in it. We also maintain the lobby of the Mercantile as a resident-only gallery space, so folks can show their work that live in the space. We have 3 buildings in downtown Providence. The first one that you saw there, up on Empire Street, there's 12 people that live in the communal floor. That is most reflective of that first space that we have in Richmond Street. One of those people changes monthly as an artist in residence, and they work in the community and share what they've done for that month with the community. Around the corner, there's a Dreyfus and the Mercantile block. The Dreyfus has 14 studio apartments and 4 work studios. The Mercantile has 22 studio lofts, little bigger spaces, and 3 work studios, and includes a shared working space. Within the context of all these buildings, we have 38 low to moderate income units for low-income artists to live in the downtown core, as well as 10 unrestricted sub-market rate units for people that have a higher income. So everyone can live together in this community. That helps sustain our buildings, which you'll hear more about later. If you're interested in living there, contact me, look at the website, all that information is there. And aside from this creative community that we are nurturing, we're good stewards of our building. And all of our developments that we've done have made the neighborhood a better place to be and a more vibrant place to live. So we're proud of that. But I just want to say in closing how proud I am to be part of AS220 for these 29 years, and that it's really helped me out as a person and a human. A person is a human. But I'm just happy to be here to work with all these amazing people and with all of you people as being part of our space. So thank you. She is the director of the industries. She's awesome.
So 4 years ago, I finished up a graduate program in Philadelphia, studying book arts and printmaking. And in order to make my work, I needed a lot of equipment. It takes up a lot of space, and it's very expensive. And I didn't have any of these tools, and suddenly I found myself looking for a makerspace, looking for a place that I could move to continue to make my work. So I began researching places and found out that AS220 had recently started a print shop. And AS220 is a place I've been coming to since I was 15 years old. So it was kind of, in a way, like coming back home to a space that I knew well. I can't tell you how many people I've heard come through the doors at the industries that give me a similar story, that say they, came to Providence because it had affordable rent, and they found out they could still make their artwork, and it kind of just seemed like a great place to be, and so they relocated here. So the AS220 Industries are a print shop, a fabrication lab, a media arts lab, and also a community darkroom. We have 250 members that use our space, and that can range anyone from someone who comes in once a year to make a Christmas card to someone who's in probably every day or every other day using the space maybe as an incubator space for a small business or where they do their practice. We also teach affordable classes on everything that we have. We have a lot of technology today. We teach classes in web programming and 3D printing. We also have a lot of technology all the way back to the 15th century. We still teach our letterpress members how to hand set and print metal type. And yeah, people are equally excited about everything in between. So we're really about providing affordable access. So one of the best examples of that is we have a laser cutter, which is one of our most popular resources. If you were to go and buy that machine, it would cost $15,000. You can come into our space and reserve that machine for 2 hours for $25. And not only do you get to use that machine for the 2 hours, you also have access to, we are a staff of 4 at the industries, And also we have about 40 volunteer members that really make this space amazing and unique and such a special place to be. I can't stress enough, our key and monitor members are really the people that just bring, their expertise to this area. They're some of the most generous people you can ever meet. A lot of work here tonight. And they're just genuinely interested in what project you're working on and how to help you out. And it's just a really wonderful community, and I feel very lucky to be there. So I invite all of you to attend one of our open houses. We have one the first Tuesday of every month from 6 to 8 p.m. There's always different demos going on and people to talk to. It's a great intro to the space. Also, April is a month-long fundraiser for our media arts program. One really wonderful thing is our dark room this year is celebrating 20 years that it's been open. So that fundraiser includes an online campaign as well as events throughout the whole month. So check out our website to find out more about that. And next, I'd like to introduce Sarah Glennon, who is the co-manager of AS220.
Hi, my name is Sarah Quinnen. I'm a working jewelry designer and a resident at AS220. I also co-manage our restaurant AS220 Food with Chef Guy Michaud. Food was my introduction to AS220. Long before I lived or worked here, I used to come in and eat at the restaurant all the time, and I would always sit at the end of the counter so that I could talk to Guy about what my favorite food was, what my favorite dishes in the restaurant were, ask him for different tips on cooking recipes I really liked, and that reciprocal love of food led to me getting a job there when an opening came up. I'd like to revisit what was mentioned earlier about how we are alternative space 220. AS220 provides an unjuried and uncensored space, but they let you decide what to call art within that space. And over at Food, not only do we believe that cooking is one of the greatest art forms that there is, but that farming and growing in a small farm setting, a non-big ag setting, an urban setting is an art form as well. We support over 40 local growers and farmers, and we source our food concentrically. So we start with the farms that we can find closest to us. And if we can't find what we're looking for there, then we gradually source outward. We provide some really great local seasonal dishes at a price that's friendly to working artists. Those are the main ideas behind Food. Our food plates, the RKT and the mac and cheese, are two of our most popular dishes, and have remained consistently low priced since we first opened. Our head chef, menu writer, and co-manager, Guy Michaud, has been working in kitchens for over 20 years around the country. He's worked in some of the finest restaurants in LA and New York. However, unlike the demands of most career chefs, his job here at AS220 actually allows some time to spend with his family, which is why he likes working there. So if you've never eaten at a restaurant, I really encourage you to check it out sometime. And then I'm also here tonight on behalf of the bar at AS220, for which they owe me a drink as soon as this is over. And I'd like to give the disclaimer that I did not write this. Unfortunately, the best dressed and most attractive member of the AS220 staff, bar manager Noah Nakato, can't be here tonight because he's selecting an outfit and setting up the bar for the soiree following this meeting. Although he couldn't be reached for comment, his publicist released the following statement to the media. The bar at AS220 coincides with the mission of AS220 Food in offering quality, seasonal, and locally sourced product to our customers at a fair price. We feature over 24 brands of beer, wine, and spirits sourced from New England alone, 12 constantly rotating beers on tap, and house-infused liquors made with fresh local produce, herbs, spices, and teas. Another favorite is our seasonal specialty cocktail menu, from which Noah personally recommends you try the Redemption of the Lawn Gnome, an original cocktail from bar AS220 that was featured in the Rhode Island Beverage Journal last year. With our friendly and knowledgeable staff and eclectic local offerings, the bar AS220 has established itself not only as a local hangout, but a haven for the beer and cocktail enthusiasts with a taste for the less common. With crowds as diverse as the nightly programming and the performance space next door, the bar AS220 and AS220 Food are renowned for making 150 Empire Street a wonderful place to eat, drink, meet friends, and make new ones, all while supporting the local arts. We look forward to seeing you soon and often. And both the food and bar invite all of you to join us over there for food and drink after this performance. And now, I'm very excited to announce that you've earned another artist break. Please welcome the amazing AS220 Youths Zoo Crew.
Put your hands up. Let's go. Come on now. Hey. My voice told me that I could be anyone, but my voice told me I feel that I get it done. Now it's my time, my road. Let's love me some love. Let's down and throw me. Rock and let it go. Turn me up. Yeah. I'm buying two soap from the motor Jackson. Take a lot out of the cane, baby. On the door that they keep slanging. No chasing, just slap. Yeah, come on now. Let's go.
Recording down, double lane, I chose you. Virtual kind of work hard, no father, take it to a place that was untouched. I've never satisfied money from this fucking mother. The way I teach you how to do
Remember what you told me, that I could give anyone what you showed me. Gonna do it, how to get it done. Now it's my time, I go, it's no use, but it's time to know this day, so I can get it out. I
everyone. And now I'd like to introduce my homie / director of youth studio, Mrs. Ann Cooper.
Another awesome super performance. I always tell everybody that I have the best job because I basically get to spend all day, every day around those guys, and it's such pure, positive, creative energy all the time up in the studio. So before I launch into a whole description of AS220 Youth, I just wanted to take a minute to remember our dear friend Dougie Cooper, who was killed over the weekend down in Chalkstone. It was an incident with the police. So I think all of us are really feeling his absence today, and it just makes the presence of all these young people who are over here on the side of the stage even more important. So just to jump right in and start telling you a little bit about AS220 Youth, we're a big program. We work with about 600 young people every year. We have 3 teaching sites. In addition to the main studio on Empire Street, we work at UCAP, which is a middle school over on the other side of 95. UCAP in the house probably somewhere. And the Rhode Island Training School, which is the state's juvenile detention facility. At the 3 teaching sites, we teach about 40 classes a week in video production, MC writing, beat making, dance, painting, drawing, silk screening, video production, many different things. So young people can have the opportunity to try out many different artistic mediums before they figure out which one that they want to make a commitment to. So when we start working with young people at the training school and over at UCAP, it's kind of like a little mutual get-to-know-you process. And we try to deliver something that they're going to want to continue, and we encourage them to transition down to AS220 after they get out or when they graduate from UCAP. And at the studio, we offer young people memberships. So as a member of AS220 Youth, you can take any of the classes that we offer for free, and you can continue participating up until you turn 21, which is great because there are a lot of young people who come to us as part of the juvenile justice or child welfare system, and a lot of the services and a lot of their relationships end when they turn 18. So the fact that they can continue coming to AS220, they turn 21, it's good, and it just provides them some continuity when they have a lot of other changes happening in their life. With the memberships, young people use memberships in a lot of different ways. Some young people come once a week to go to a piano class. Other kids come a few times a week to try a few different classes, and then there are the kids who basically move in with us and are there about 6 days a week. They can also, for young people who are 17 to 21, they can also participate in our apprentice program, which is more like a job skills training program. They do studio engineering, they create murals, they're part of our photography team, and they also develop all our website as part of our communications program. So we have a whole lot of things. It's basically like a factory up there, and we really encourage young people to start working on their portfolios, and we get those up online for people. So I guess we've heard a lot tonight about how AS220 has started figuring out how to develop Providence's undervalued assets. And I would say that the same is true for young people, the young people that we work with. While some people would consider the young people that we work with at risk or troubled or vulnerable, or a lot of different adjectives get thrown at them, I think AS220 has always just understood that they have very pure potential, as you saw with Zoo Crew tonight. And I wanted to just give you a little example of that. And you were lucky because the example walked in the door this morning. We have Miguel Revellario over here. So you can look up at this funny He was in a photo class with Scott and Miguel, and they were just sort of playing around with some images. Miguel figured out how to put this collage together. Scott and Miguel, Bert has another example here. Upside down here. So we thought they were pretty funny, pretty cool. We put them up on the wall down at the studio, so everybody can see. And all the other young people at the studio were like, man, that's wavy, that's fresh, I like that. And then it was just like crazy cutting, gluing, recombining of the photos that they started doing, and you can see New and Indira up there. So the collages just got more elaborate, more beautiful, huge things filling up the whole wall. And we shared some of the images with our favorite government officials. I don't know if Lynn's here tonight. I'm here. Yay! So the Department of Art, Culture, and Tourism, and also the Department of Planning and Development for the City of Providence saw these things and were like, we want in too, man, this is awesome. And so it's just been like a transformer, Optimus Prime action with these things because they're getting blasted into metal, etched into glass, welded together, and they're going to be 10-foot tall traffic signs. It's bringing about $70,000 in commissions to the youth studio this year. I think that just for me is a symbol of what can happen. These are some more of the collages that are going on the bus shelter, and Chris, Anthony, and Romeo, who are up top, are with the seats that are going to be part of the bus shelter benches. But what Red did, and what those three guys, and a whole bunch of other young people, including Dougie Cooper actually, who worked on this project, they were just sort of paying it forward. And now this project is going to be able to allow more apprentices to work with us next year. So they've been able to just bring in enough income to support other young people to go through the program. So this is just my little magic formula. I think you thought that I was going to talk about youth program, but I'm going to give you an investment tip tonight, which is that as adults, we have the easy part. We just need to provide a little bit of access. Then young people come in, they provide all the innovation, creativity, totally joyful art-making thing that happens. You just have to line up a few of the right grants, make a few phone calls, write a few letters, and then everything starts happening. The resources that you need start pouring in, and then we can just make more opportunities and more access for young people. So it's a beautiful thing, and it's just a reminder tonight to invest in the young people of Providence. They have all our answers for us.
There's so many people in this room I want to thank. You know, I see Ruth Dealing over there. We're introducing you, Lucy Searle. And just, what time is it, right? And Richard, our first accountant, who's still with us, and who's still with us 28 years later. You know, we're not a tri-state, Ruth. So I'm going to talk just briefly about a couple of annual events. How we doing? We went through this, and we were about better than halfway through, so you're good. I want you to get hanging in there. I appreciate that. Click the next slide. So there are a number of annual events that happen. Our annual Food Fest, it draws 5,000 to 6,000 people downtown. We usually feature about 20 live acts, local acts, installation artists, all kinds of diverse food vendors, tremendous amount of stuff. And Mary Lee always manages to book some up-and-coming act that breaks about 2 weeks after she books them That's the only way we can afford them. So Big Frieder, who was featured in one of our food fests, 2 weeks later it was written up in the New York Times, and believe me, the price skyrocketed. So we commend Barrelly for always being the predictor. For sponsorship. You'll hear more about that later. Next slide. Free Culture. That's Guillermo Gomez Pena on the left, an amazing, amazing artist. Every couple of years, we try to commission a public work by a local artist and an international artist, primarily artists who are really pushing conversation, who are really holding us to the most important things about community. And Guillermo was one of them, and help me here. Brandon Eaton's locally, and Joan Wyman, and Chef Ferry. You heard of Chef Ferry? I gotta tell that quick. So Chef Ferry, we want to do our Free Culture Award. It's our 25th anniversary. We want to inaugurate an award. So I sent an email to Chef Ferry, and at Chef Ferry, you'll want to post and all that, right? For people that don't know, Andre the Giant and all this good stuff. So I sent Chef an email. This is the exact email I sent him. I said, Chef, he started to get profits, by the way, when he was going through Rhode Island School of Design, another amazing institution, right? So I sent Chef an email. He's, really rich, living in Los Angeles. And I said, Chef, this is Bert Breaker from AS220. I don't know if you remember me while you were in town. We want to give away a Free Culture Award. We want you to be the first recipient. I wanted to pick somebody famous so people would take me seriously later. Right? Well, there's a little bit of a connection. I said, but more importantly, we would like to exploit your fame. He knew that, right? So, amazingly, Chef sends me an email back and says, Bert, you may not remember, but I got arrested for graffitiing the X Games in Providence, and I had to do 30 hours of community service. I was on my way out of town, had not done the community service. You signed me the letter saying I did. I owe you. And he was just a sweetheart through the whole process, and created a print for us that raised us $40,000. We were shipped, they sold out in 2 weeks. Yeah. So thank you, Chef. And then Action Speaks October 11th up in New York. Underappreciated dates in 20th century dates that changed America. We've been running this forum for 17, 18 years, and just this year, it's a question whether we're going to be able to afford to do it. Just saying. Okay? It'd be an incredibly sad story if we cannot continue with Action Speaks. So we really are looking for people to help us with that in particular. Action Speaks is going on over 250 stations across the country. It promotes Providence. It promotes the humanities and the public dialogue. And we've had some of the most amazing guests who have participated in that. So we're hoping to be able to figure it out. It's not terribly expensive. But anyway, Action Speaks. So I think, we're not around as a resident. So Susan talked to you a little bit about our third floor space. By the way, those 3 buildings represent $25 million in investment in the city. And multiples of that all around every one of our buildings. Just saying. Right? But our artist residency program. So we have hosted artists in that residency program from as far away as Sri Lanka to the Dominican Republic, Cuba, where else? All over the country, South Korea, who have come and shared and participated in our community and given back. And it's really been remarkable. We stay in touch with most of them. So I think now I introduced, right? I think you're ready for another art break. What do you think? So once again, it is my privilege to introduce to you another spoken word artist who has traveled the entire country with the material. He's locally based. He was a former resident of AS220. He's a teacher, and he's a dad. Christopher Johnson.
Eyes closed, chin and chest, raised head, inhale, exhale, cuts. This is unnatural. Exposing the orchestra that make up my organs to strangers. It's so unnatural that you know I cry ugly. And from these cries, lessons are learned. So much time is spent tearing down walls. I don't want to be between them. When the door opens, fear makes walking out impossible. In those times, you have to replace demons with roses. So when they return, they're homeless. My thoughts piggyback a baby girl, shouldering another mile, wading naked to piranha-filled pools. Wincing, not allowed. Pain is a part of it. Black men cannot white knuckle frustration. Black absorbs. Owning a dream that seemed passion, $5 for $3 cans of kidney beans and 89-cent bags of rice. Looking at jumbo notes on toilet tissue, old newspaper bags, and witnessing a poem. Hustling and living for computer copies of CDs on subways and chapbooks at open mics at 5 a.m. Preparing lesson plans for 8, teaching till 4, hosting the show at 9, saying forget the time because words hurt so much. Maybe the audience's hug. This square circle gives high school nerds voice and reform thugs choices and fathers separated from children outlets. It gives MCs a place to rock when the music stops and lines of women to air beside the laundry of hip-hop is where cops tell kids why not grow up to be like them, where suicide is going to stop and living begins. It's free, like 90-year-old handstands and regular chopping doors. It's not supposed to be easy. Screaming poem after poem to lonely rivers in the dark. Because the woman you love wants more than art. And your living space reflects the best you made in your life. It's unnatural, taking tears that cry so ugly and sounding them beautiful. Slam's policy is a drunken reality. Competing for a score intoxicates the philosophy of being heard. It's more of a fight to walk away from the stiff drink than learn about both poems with words. I tell my students, don't want to become a writer. Art is no choice. To live like this is insane. You never know when the past runs up the tender side, blindside, chain hides you. Hoping for a favorable outcome, the only option. You can have all the tools, the proper syntax, the spoonisms and metaphors, alliterations and intricate rhyme schemes that weave rainbows into kaleidoscopes with its dreams that kerosene sparks and hearts that ignites the stage that makes me step behind the mic, eyes closed, chin and chest, raised head and deliver, laying down with babies. Every now and then I stare at the sun, attempting to let a little light inside because a playwright's look path will make you laugh, but a poet's journal is suicide. I sometimes find myself swinging at the wind, hoping to hit a wall, throwing uppercuts and jabs at imaginary enemies, tiring myself out till I fall back, feeling the glass, feeling inching closer, hoping to see reflection or fall of breath, proving after life is taking my all, there's still some part of me left. Every time, it's the same. Eyes closed, chin and chest, raised head until finally I open my mouth. Bloody and mucus comes inside the beautiful comes out.
Managing Director at AS220. Operations, and I'm an artist, so I do AS220 on the side now. I also make numbers look really good. If you get nothing else from tonight, just remember that. All right. As you have heard already, AS220 does a lot. A lot each day, a lot each week, a lot each month, a lot each year. Which means there has to be a lot of infrastructure to support that. My job tonight is to kind of deconstruct and also maybe make it a little more complicated for you to understand the inner workings of AS220. So, to simplify it a little bit, we're going to split it into 3 different categories. The first of which is the nonprofit, AS220, which includes the entire street building, owned by the nonprofit. The second category is real estate. So we'll call that the mercantile and the Eventbrite this building. And the third is AS220 Food Drink, which is food in the bar at AS220. Also, a for-profit owned by the nonprofit. So, the nonprofit, let's talk about income. It's going to be the easiest way to kind of give you a glimmer of how this all works. We are, the survey says, 66% earned income, which means that's anything from gate receipts and art sales and which is an impressive amount. But I also want to point out that that does include government contracts. So our friends at TCYF that help support the youth program, our relationship with Repertory Vista. So that is 46%. So almost half of the earned income comes from that. All right. Next. What? That's not supposed to look like that. There's some numbers, some stuff. That's fun. Can't get fun. Basically, what I'm supposed to tell you is we have a lot of different ways of funding, right? So our VISTA program, like I said, is all government contracts, whereas our industries is almost entirely earned income, right? So that's workshops, membership, things like that. So it's a very complicated system of weaving these forms of income together. So like I said, we're going to keep this way up here. We just covered the nonprofit. Now you know everything. Real estate. It's really easy. It's something like this. It's really easy. We're going to spend the next 2 hours talking about this. At the performance-based conference. Okay, but instead we're going to do this. Let's simplify it a little bit. So the real estate, the buildings basically function the same way. All of the rent from commercial tenants and artists go into the system, and it pays for everything that buildings need, right? Utilities, property tax, all the fun stuff. In the US, why does AS220 care about real estate? Why do we want to get into real estate game? Well, one, we need space. We need space for our programming, our offices. You need space to work, to live, to eat. We think we do pretty well. But also, on a monthly basis, we get administrative fees and property management fees that pay for Kelly and Susan to do their work. So, real estate, got it. The other earned income stream is the bar and restaurant. Owned by the nonprofit. It is a for-profit entity. Functions like any other bar and restaurant. You go, you buy drinks, you buy food. That then pays for rent, AS220, thank you. Expenses to vendors, all of our farmers and local brewers. And then payroll for all of our fine bartenders. I see Kylie up here, a couple other folks. But where we differ is usually restaurateurs then take that money that's left over, put it in their pocket. We take that money, put it right back in the system, and as a form of support. So it pays for our production manager's salaries and the performance space next door. So, recap. This is this year's budget. So as Bert says, we started in 1986 with $800, 85, 86, you know, numbers. With $800, we're now $4.1 million budget altogether. Including the buildings and including the bar and restaurant, that's almost 80% earned income. That's because of you. Without your participation in the co-creation of AS220, even buying chickpeas, taking a class, that number would be very different. So, that was the present. That's where we are now. Let's go back in history in order to go forward into the future and look at some trends. So from 2004 to 2013, our square footage went from 25,000 square feet to over 100,000 square feet. Our budget was somewhere around 1.2, it's now $4.1 million. This upper right is what we pay to artists in the community, teaching artists, workshop instructors, youth in transition grants. So, the question that it begs, how can we sustain this? That trajectory of a budget is incredible. I ask myself that every day. Shane is about to come up and talk about the vision for the future. So, with this chart here, you'll see that there's a dip. In the next 2 years, we do foresee some challenges. We know, as of right now, that some funding is falling out. And we're working on talking those people back into, a continued relationship. So as of today, we do face some challenges. But, without glazing over it or acknowledging that challenge, I do want to say, I think we have a really strong vision for the future that includes more earned income. We at AS220 believe that to have a sustainable organization, we can't rely on one funding source. We need to diversify. And you all are going to be part of that. So, is that it?
That's it.
You guys are awesome. And next up, I'm going to introduce Sam Seidel, our agent of Practice, who will talk to you about one of our new and fun future visions.
Thank you. I'm Sam. When I first came to AS220 as a college student in the 1990s, I was impressed by the large impact that I saw the organization making in the state of Rhode Island. 3 days after graduating from college, I became the director of AS220's youth program. And got to work on expanding that impact, not just by offering artistic opportunities to a lot more young people around the state, but also by bringing those young people in as leaders and owners of the organization and the tools of production. So it was very exciting to hear Josh shout out teaching in the middle studio, and to see today, my favorite part of being here tonight, seeing several of the people, Angel, Josh, Miguel, and Gabby, who's masterminded all these slides up here for us, seeing all these people who came into the program as young people who are now here working at the organization and part of running this place and creating its future, I think really speaks to the way that we've extended the impact of the organization. I've been a board member for the last several years and have gotten to see all these other ways that you've heard about tonight that we're having an impact in the community here in Providence and in Rhode Island. And I'm here tonight to talk about an exciting new set of opportunities for the organization. Over the last several years, there's been growing interest around the country and internationally in AS220's work. Bird has been invited all over, from Wilmington, Delaware, to Windsor, Canada, from Toronto to New Zealand, to talk about what it is that we've done here and share those stories. We've also had an influx of visitors coming in. We've had folks from Philadelphia, from China, from Ukraine, and that's just in the last 2 months. So we're starting to see this growing interest, and what we want to do now, what we're doing with the help of the Ford Foundation and the Kennedy Center's DeVos Institute of Arts Management, is starting to formalize what we're already doing, which is sharing AS220's practice. We call this practice, AS220's consultancy on creative placemaking, or creative community. So we're just building this now, but I'm just going to give you a quick sneak preview of some of the ideas for how we're sharing. First of all, one of the most effective ways we can share humbly what it is that we've been able to do here over the last few decades is through stories about the organization's founding and its evolution over time. What we want to do, we already share those stories, we want to codify that, we want to be able to document it, capture it, and share it in a multimedia form in perpetuity. Secondly, alongside those stories, there's some very practical tools we've developed in the last few decades, from the booking forms that Marilee uses for the performance space, to the complex funding formula that Aaron showed you a moment ago for our real estate projects, right? We want to make those things available so that other people trying to do this kind of work in cities around the country and around the world have access. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can take that, use it, tweak it, remix it, right? We'd like to be able to offer all of that to everyone, everywhere around the world, free, having it live online in a multimedia form. We just need some help, a philanthropic partner to make that happen. But there's some other more in-depth ways we also want to work with folks. One is by bringing people in, letting them get embedded in the organization for a period of time, experience AS220 from the inside out, understand the organization, its culture, its operations that way, and us going out and working on-site in different places with folks who are trying to do similar work so that we can understand their unique set of needs, strengths, capabilities, and we can help them in a more deep way. And we've been doing that a little bit. We've done it in Memphis, we're doing it in Colorado Springs. What we want to do now is develop our capacity so that we really, that's part of the work that we do as an organization. And that doesn't tax us too much back home to be doing that around the country and around the world. And we hope that these second two pieces become a new income stream, since we need some of those. And then it's really ends up generating sizable revenue for the organization. But that's not the only reason we want to do it. We also want to do it because we think that as the organization grows after these first few decades, right, and the kind of the founders who have built this organization are passing off leadership to other folks in the coming years, we want to make sure that our practices are well documented, are well codified, are well understood, and we know that developing a practice like this will push us to do that in very important ways. We also want it to be constantly evolving, right? So we want to be in the practice of developing these things all the time, not that it's a stagnant set of things, but that it's something that we're constantly adding to, and in that way we push ourselves to stay on the cutting edge. We know that by going out and working with folks all over the world, we're going to learn a lot, which we can then bring back in to the organization. And perhaps most importantly, by doing this, we'll get closer to AS220's vision, which is not just to create a just Rhode Island, but to create a just world where everyone has the ability to reach their creative potential. Next up, I have the privilege of welcoming to the stage the evil mastermind behind AS220's technology empire, Jonathan.
Everybody, I'm Jonathan Murphy. I am the ex-director. I'm not a very familiar face. So I just like to tell this anecdote when I do these kind of talks to give you a sense of what it was like when I started here. I started in July of 2012. Just forgive me, I mumble and get excited. That's why I love this stuff, so if you have questions, you can ask me. So I got into 2012, and I walked in the first day, and there wasn't a keyboard available for me to use. There was one computer at the time with a note that said, "Do not turn off ever." And then there was a laptop that didn't turn off, and it said, "Needs power." So I worked 21 straight days just to get a handle on like the massive amount of stuff going on. And then food fest happened to me. I felt like. So I knew there were challenges. The challenges here were similar to every nonprofit organization I've worked for. I just hadn't seen them at this scale. As Aaron has shown you, the exponential growth. 3 buildings, 60 staff, thousands of students, it just compounded what are completely normal challenges. There's still challenges, but that's kind of the past investment, right? Well, we've greatly increased the reliability and speed of virtually every single application here. And for free, fairly affordable too. Oh yeah, that's right, we're showing cats. Just let you know. This is boring stuff, right? So it's like, me talking about my job here is boring. It's about servers and networks. The more interesting question for me, and I think for the organization, is what aspect of your jobs doesn't involve a computer? Virtually nothing. If it involves a computer, I'm involved. But I think about the role of AS220, and I go back to the core values. unjuried, uncensored, open access. There's another alternative space that does this really, really well. It's called the internet. We've seen a massive transformation in culture in the last decade to near total dependence on computerized services, and it's going to continue. 6 years ago, iPhones didn't exist. That's just crazy. We need to be planning for the next 6 years. It isn't enough now to jot down on a piece of paper how many people came and who performed. Oh, my nose, that worked. It isn't enough now to jot down on a piece of paper who performed and how many people came. It needs to go into a database. It needs to be indexable and searchable, and more importantly, it needs to be shared nationwide with other arts organizations. It isn't enough to say that you can only physically be at a theater to enjoy a performance. Last year, we live streamed the Stranger Tractor Show in Alaska, Night of Empire. It isn't enough now to say that we get to define what art is at any point in time. We need to be prepared for whatever gets defined as, in terms of theaters and media arts, video games, augmented reality, like Google Glass. Seriously. So, let's talk about the future. When I think about technology, I think about it in two categories that AS220. One is just supporting our practice. That's stuff is pretty straightforward. I want a student who's at the youth or industries or who has transitioned to industries who will log in at any computer and access to their files. That's just something that I think we should have. Funders are happy to give us money for video cameras and a computer, but no one is giving us money for the servers required to store all the video. And this is frustrating for me. The second category is the technology required to run an organization as complex as AS220. As you've heard, we do so much here. And right now we make you jump through so many hoops to do simple passes. We make our staff jump through so many hoops to do simple passes. And we could buy tons of software as is. So we have event management, ticketing, donations, volunteer management, tenant management, point of sale systems for food. We have all that stuff. But 6 years from now, that's not enough. We need a unified platform. And that's what Shay and I are working on, is we need a non-profit basic operations support system. So we've already been working on this. So this is something that we're working on. And we realized early on that given the huge amount of things that we do here, it's actually more and it's bigger than this. If we put time into it now and get it right early, it could have a huge impact on the nonprofit sector as a whole because of everything we do. We want it to be modular and scalable so that organizations, when they come to us, practice, we can say, hey, here's all the stuff we do, and also we have a tool for you that's free, it's open source, and you can just add the parts that you need as you grow. So, we're going to get going. And I'm going to bring up the esteemed and lovely Sarah Bear to talk to you about our future.
Hi everyone, I'm Shay Rivera, Director of Programs at AS220. Working hard in the community just like our lovely staff here. So as Director of Programs, I'm the other side of Aaron Peterman. As his world focuses on the operations of AS220, I work with our amazing program leaders on community and content. So 4 years ago, I moved here from Puerto Rico. So why did I trade amazing tropical weather for the new precisely because I heard about AS220. So AS220, when I found out about it, I felt that it really materialized what I was looking for
curator and just as a person. It really resonated as a true alternative, a place where the intrinsic value of artists was celebrated. So I'm really lucky to work alongside these amazing people and be part of this community. So Eric Peterman talked about the inner workings of AS220 and our current challenges. Jonathan and Sam talked about pathways to sustainability. So now I'm going to present to you our vision for the future. 2 years ago, AS220 engaged in a process where we really evaluated our work and got in touch with the community. We involved our staff and our board to envision what our programs would look like in the next 5 years and what we would need to take it there. So Vision 2020 really looked at our current needs: technology, staffing, communications, equipment, space, all of those things that make AS220 a home for so many artists. So, considering all these needs that we looked at with all our community, we really started to think about what it's going to take to take it there. Sorry. Ooh, I'm getting a little bit nervous because you guys are awesome. So the first thing that we realized after doing all this process is it really reinforced the need and our desire to further support and strengthen the arts community in Rhode Island. So what will this look like? The first thing that we want to do is create a center where we can all share resources and we can really actively support our community of artists. What does that mean? More income opportunities for artists. We want people to stay in the state. We want our young professionals to stay. A lot of artists are leaving because of the lack of affordable space. We want to provide that as well. We want to take AS220 youth to another level by providing career opportunities. We also want to constantly be involved in the community and talk to you to see what other needs we have to meet. So what is the first thing that we want to do through this Vision 2020 process? What we have kind of called the Interactive Center for Creativity. This will be a go-to place. This will also take our work to another level and be more active by providing a retail gallery space where artists can sell their work, where we can generate and incubate more artist-run businesses, and a lot of more economic activity around what the arts and culture means in this space. This will be a go-to place, a multilingual, multicultural space where all of the arts and culture of Providence and the state of Rhode Island can come together and we can share resources together, alongside our amazing partners of the city and all the amazing artists that are involved in this community. So this is a vision that we want to create, and we want to invite all of you to co-create this vision with us. I'm going to pass the baton also to our Director of Communications, David Dvorak, and our Director of Development, Cynthia Langlick, and they will show you how you can be actively engaged in this process with us to make our city and state just amazing. So,
Hi, I'm David Dvorak. I'm the Communications Director here at AS220. I'd also like to acknowledge our wonderful and long-suffering graphic designer, Gabby Molinado. Just as a personal anecdote, I've been working there since July of 2012. Prior to that, I've been coming to AS220 since 1997 when I was a freshman at PC. And the first day I walked in as a paid employee of AS220 to get a tour, I walked into the print shop and my jaw hit the floor. I never knew that there was this other side to it aside from the performance space and the bar. So let's ensure that doesn't happen to any of you from now on. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to stay informed with this vision for the future? The best way is to go to our website, AS220.org. It's open 24 hours a day. It's a comprehensive view of everything that's going on here. Calendar of events, program overviews, blog posts. You can search and take classes, sign up for classes online. You can become a member, you can donate to AS220. Aside from the website, the next best thing is our weekly email newsletter. It's a condensed version of the website. So that gets delivered to you weekly, punctual and informative. And we also, aside from digital, we still do a monthly printed calendar delivered right to your door, first-class mail. Everything that's going on at 95 Empire, 115 Empire, and all the classes happening that month, you get it before they actually happen. If you're into social media, we have most of your bases covered. Everybody here tonight is on Instagram now, by the way. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So check us out on there. And so what are you going to do for us, considering that our communications department, conveying all the wonderful things that these people do, is media work? You could be an ambassador for AS220. Everybody here has a free tote bag on their seat. So I encourage you to take that out, wear it out, grocery shopping, record shopping, whatever you're doing. If somebody asks you, what the heck is AS220? Tell them what brought you here today. Tell them why you love AS220. And it's filled with stickers. Everyone loves stickers. So I want to see those stickers everywhere. Don't put them up in Trinity Rep, please. Put them on your car, on your laptop, on your guitar, wherever else you may feel the need to stick a sticker. And you can also help us out in a big way. People have been coming here through AS220 for almost 30 years now. Tell us your story. Tell us what brought you here. Tell us what you did here. Tell us what you're going to do here. And speaking to that, if you join us over at 115 Empire for drinks and food after the show, we'll have a video testimonial booth set up. You can get in line, tell us a quick story, and we appreciate that very much. So, now that I've spelled out how you're going to keep informed with everything that AS220 is doing, I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful development director, Cynthia Heinrich, who's going to present you a menu of options.
Hey everyone, I'm Cynthia, I'm the development director, and I work with a small team of Bert and Jen Tierney and Lee Walker-Taylor, actually in addition to all the program staff and our wonderful board of directors. We work together to try to articulate the case for support of AS220, to find the resources and secure those resources to advance our mission and our vision. And I'm one of the oddballs up here, actually, because I'm not a practicing artist. I dabble a little bit. But my background is in architecture and in city planning and in community development. So what motivates me about this work is the social impact, the community impact, the impact on place that we see every day. It's what's often referred to as the power of the arts to transform lives and transform communities. So tonight we've heard a little bit about the origins of AS220, a bit about our current amazing program opportunities, and a little bit about our vision for the future. We've heard about our values, our policies, and our practices. And in keeping with our foundational values of social justice, of access and equity, and the conviction that all people are creative beings, one of our practices is to blur the line between artists and audience. It's our practice to be permeable and to be porous, so that the community and AS220 merge seamlessly as one. We are you, and you are we, and we are one, and we are all together. We are the Eggmen. We are the Ball Rock. So that we can all share the bounty of our collective creativity, we'd like to re-invite you as a co-creator of the community work of art that is AS220. So how do we participate in co-creating? There are all kinds of ways, from the mundane to the magnificent. One of the simplest ways is when you're feeling a bit peckish, think of our restaurant and bars. Bar is one of the best places for lunch, dinner, and drinks. As Sarah has already told us about, it's a great meeting place and a community gathering space. That's what it looks like every night. While you're nourishing your body and soul, helping to sustain the local economy, you can contemplate the power of the arts and help us plot and plan for a better world. And after you save a few bucks on your great affordable meal, think about taking in some creative entertainment, experience some performance art, or enjoy the exhibitions of local artists, all at the galleries, at 95 Empire, Black Box, and at our performance space directly adjacent to the restaurant. If you get the itch to make art, we all get that itch at some point, we'd love to help you scratch it. You can make art in the print shop, the media lab, fabrication lab, the Black Box, dance studio, rehearsal spaces, and for young people in our youth studio. Once you make it, you've heard about the variety of ways to show it and share it in our galleries, performance space, or Black Box, share it with the whole community at large. If you're interested in building your skills and knowledge of art making within a creative community, well, think about taking or giving a workshop. That happens mostly in our industries, the print shop, media lab, fabrication lab, also at 95 Empire, Black Box, and the dance studio. If you're more interested in general support of the movement of instilling the arts throughout the community, the most fundamental way to be part of the movement is with a membership. You can sign up for a recurring monthly payment of $5, $10, or $20 a month, or make a single payment. If you'd like to go a little further and support the cause of equitable access to the arts, join us with a membership at just $1 a day, so $30 a month for a recurring payment. So membership not only provides foundational support for our community co-creation, it also provides some little fun benefits on the side. It gives you discounts to workshops, discounts to art purchases, and the very most important thing, it gives you a beer upgrade at the bar. So here's another creative way to participate. Maybe you have a birthday or other celebration coming up. Well, instead of, gathering these dumb gifts that you don't really want, you don't really need, ask your friends to donate in your honor to AS220 for your next birthday or your next celebration. For those of you who may have business expertise or development expertise to share, we'd love to talk to you about opportunities. You may be able to help us with business planning, for practice, business analysis of the industries, perhaps some database and technology planning and implementation, or for those of you with development expertise, we'd love to talk to you about any way you can help us, maybe even with a seat on the development committee of the board. Another opportunity to co-create and participate is through sponsorship of an event or a program. You or your company might want to consider sponsoring a special program in exchange for recognition and involvement. And some of the examples of that Bert mentioned earlier are Food Fest, Free Culture, Action Speaks, the Artist in Residence program. There's another way. Do you have equipment you might like to recycle or repurpose? And we're talking about good quality stuff, not your crummy old cast box. We'd love to talk to you about printmaking, equipment and supplies, sound or lighting equipment, musical instruments, technology equipment, maybe carpentry tools and mechanics tools. We can put all of that in very good use. Do you have a car, or maybe a truck, or an RV, or a motorcycle, or a submarine, or an airplane that you'd like to get rid of? And in this case, we'll even accept junkers, because we work with the partner, the donation line, and they will tow any junker vehicles of any kind, so you can donate any conditioned vehicle on our website under the vehicle exchange. And then, on the magnificent side of things, if you're interested in a more significant gift or in planned giving opportunities, we'd love to talk to you about that. For example, there may be an opportunity to retire our mortgage debt, to endow our youth program. These are grand and wonderful things. We'll talk to you about bequests and bequeaths. And in conjunction with all of that level of significant gift, we'd be happy to talk to you about naming opportunities or spaces or programs. So I've mentioned just some of the examples of ways to participate and help co-create the future of AS220. The opportunities are as infinite as our collective creativity. So please don't forget to fill out your little participation form in your tote. We'll be collecting them in the lobby as you Also, please join us for more in-depth conversation and co-creation afterwards, a few doors down the street in our Empire Suite performance space. So let's work together to continue to co-create the most amazing creative community ever. We are the Walmart. Artist and poet and AS220 board member, the fabulous Susie Santana.
¿Cuándo fue que dejamos de querernos? ¿Cuándo fue que empezamos a ofendernos? ¿Cuándo fue que dejamos de jugar? ¿Y cuándo fue que empezamos a tirar? Y a tirar, y a tirar. Tira, tira, make a dream disappear. Life is a video game, warfare on a plate. Breakfast has been served. Tira, tira, walking fear. The gunshot generation's here. Away from rage, together we stand. Tira, tira, cry another family's tears. Children living in fear. Stay strong, my dear. Dear, tira, tira, we can shoot them with words. Put away your guns. This is a plea, my son. Art could save us all. Tira, tira, create the life you didn't have. Stop dwelling on the past. We can heal from this pain. We can start today. Let our voices be heard.
To share all of this with you. Thank you so much. Look at stuff, fill out your form, come over for a cocktail. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know, when
I still have to talk to you about that audio video thing. Yes.
As I'm doing this right now, just laughing at you in the face.
Okay.
I'm actually getting my own. I'm getting a couple more pieces of equipment. We have J.R. Uretsky, who's a new video instructor.
Judy.
So.
Is that a course that's going to be given on that?
Yeah, it'll be a course, but after April, once the Darkroom fundraiser, the media fundraiser is done, it's time to
chill. We can squeeze in.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'll see you probably there.
Oh, definitely. See you.
Like listening to
I think the chargers might be ours.
The charger is yours.
I kind of paused the recording because it won't turn off. I don't know how.
Yeah, that's good.
We did it. Good job. I wasn't told about this stand. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we see it out.
Oh, yeah.
I would like some help. I don't know. It seemed like you may have.
Breaking out.